So now we're in Austria. We've been visiting Andy. He's been cooking gourmet food every day, and I think I've gained 5 pounds in the week that we've been here, which is good because I need the energy. And here in the Alps, we're going to do the 5-beat weave. Ready? To start, let's just look at it from a couple angles, okay? So this is the 5-beat weave from the front, and this is the 3-beat weave. So in your own language, in your own way of thinking, try to understand the difference. 5-beat weave, 3-beat weave. 5-beat weave, 3-beat weave. And let's look at this from above, from kind of more your point of view. 3-beat weave, 5-beat weave. So even just try to mimic the motions with your hands. Make the motion of a 3-beat weave, and then make the motion of a 5-beat weave. So everybody thinks differently, so it's good if you find your own way to understand what you're seeing at first. Yeah. See, I think of all the weaves as being winding, unwinding moves. So where, based around the idea that if from my point of view, this to me is clockwise, and this to me is counterclockwise. It's not really, the poi's not really changing directions. It's just on one side and then the other side of me. So any, say a split time chasing move, if it stays on one side, it'll wind and then twist up. So any weave is unwinding, winding, unwinding, winding, unwinding, winding. A 5-beat weave just winds and unwinds further. So it winds, unwinds, winds, unwinds, winds, unwinds. You could do a 7-beat weave by just letting it wind even further. And so you could even let the tether wind up. So then you could, easier with string, but then you could do like a whole lot of beats. So if you watch a regular 3-beat weave, say, notice my right hand, the green one. Notice how the right crosses to the left, there, and then the left crosses to the right. Which we can see from above, like this. The right crosses to the left crosses to the right. Make sense? So in a 5-beat weave, what happens if you look at the right poi, instead of the right crossing over there, it goes through and the left poi crosses over. And same on the other side. In a 7-beat weave, you go even further, and once again, the right poi crosses to the left poi crosses to the right. So learning the 5-beat weave, it's actually best, I think, to learn it when you're first doing poi. So a little after the 3-beat weave. It will be easier if you learn it near the beginning. I kind of think it's best as a beginner move. Because if you wait a year, it'll be hard to learn because your motor skills will be so set. So the first thing to do actually, is to see how your wrists fit together. So take your left hand and point your finger that way. And take your right hand and go like this. So the trick is, this one normally crosses, but it's going, no, I want to stay behind. And this one goes, follow me, over to this side. They unwind, they wind back up, and then the left one, which is winding under, goes this way, leads back over here. So the right leads here, the left leads here. The right leads here, the left leads here. So you get a feeling for that. So that's very important step number 1. Very important step number 2, you can take your left poi, briefly demonstrate from here. Take your left poi here, take your right hand and just flip it over. Do that a few times. Or from spinning, flip it over on your wrist. Catch it and flip it. Catch it and flip it. Same thing, remember the pointing finger. Follow me! Follow me! This one's leading. Then you do the same thing, but this time catch your wrist. So from here, catch your wrist, lead it over. This one's leading. And then do the whole thing from the other side. Same thing, again, this time your left leads. At first catches the string, leads it over. Let's do this from down here. Catch, lead it over. Catch, lead it over. Catch, lead it over. And then your wrist. Catch, lead it over. Catch, lead it over. Catch, lead it over. Catch, lead it over. So then you do exactly the same thing, but this time you've got two poi. So you have a poi in your hand now, but it's the same. Your left poi can be doing this. Your right hand is going to catch it and lead it over, just like you just did. You can start on the tether, catch and lead it over, catch and lead it over, catch and lead it over. Make sure your right's leading, so your right poi gets back to the right side first. And then catch your wrist. Catch and lead it over. Catch and lead it. And what'll happen is for a lot of people, you'll want to do this. Your left poi will want to cross. But just overcome that habit. In fact, we're going to go back in time. Very important step number two, very important step number 2, break the habit of the 3-beat weave. So here you are doing a 3-beat weave. That's how I stay in shape. Do a 3-beat weave, and the first thing is just stop crossing. So on the left side, just let it wind up, let it, whatever it does. You know, watch at first how your left hand crosses, and then just stop crossing. Whatever it does is fine. It'll hit you, it'll tangle. Just get over that impulse to cross, which is tough at first sometimes. Once you're breaking that impulse, at first watch what the left one does. The left one's just gonna disappear under here. It's gonna pass your leg. Once you can watch that, start watching the right poi. So as the left disappears, look what the right one's doing, because that's the one that's going to cross. And then just start to mess with that. Great goal is see if you can hit yourself. And if you can consistently hit yourself, you're doing great. Especially if you can consistently hit yourself further to the right side each time. Because what will happen, at first you'll hit yourself there, and then 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 you'll cross, which is a 5-beat weave. But you don't even have to perfect that yet. All you need to do is in a 3-beat weave on each side, learn to stop crossing and just watch what the poi are doing. So on the right side, same thing. It's going to be your left hand you really want to watch. Watch what it does. Then start to try to get that poi to come over to this side. And then you go back through the steps we covered. And then you come back to here, where you're going to take your right hand, you're going to try to catch your wrist, lead it over. Catch your wrist, lead it over. Then on the other side, catch this wrist, lead it over. Catch and lead it over. And then you can do it all from the 3-beat weave. And this is same thing where look at the left hand, normally crosses here, crosses over the top. Instead of crossing, it's going to go through, and that's where you catch your wrist and lead it over. So just do that, and same thing. At first, don't worry, it'll hit you, it'll tangle. Just you'll have to muck around with this a little bit. But after a little while, don't cross, and you'll eventually let your right one lead over, then your left one lead over. And then you're doing a 5-beat weave. If you have trouble, just run back and forth through the lead-ups a few times, and you'll keep building the building blocks, and it'll work. For a backward 3-beat weave, same thing. At first, do the backward weave, and at first just get over the impulse to cross. Same thing. If you look with the backward 3-beat weave, the orange one crosses under, green one crosses under, orange crosses under. So the right crosses to the left crosses to the right. With the 5-beat weave, it's again, the right goes under to cross back to the right, left hooks back to the left, right hooks back to the right, left hooks back to the left, and all the lead-ups are basically the same. So in the beginning, you can go hook, over, hook, over, hook, over, and then on the other side, hook, over, oop, hook, over, hook, over, hook your wrist over. Remember that this will be leading. Hook it over. And then once you get comfortable with that, with your poi, let your right poi hook it over. Hook it over. And you'll learn this the quickest if you're not in a hurry. Because you know, a lot of people, all of us really in the beginning, at first we're trying to get it done, so we don't really follow what's happening. So just relax, let the poi hit you a lot, and at first just see what happens. Like if the right poi hooks, just see what it does. Because as soon as you're actually watching it, then you'll figure it out. So this is the backward 5-beat weave. And so a 7-beat weave, again, would be that you'd go even further. And once again, the next poi in Q crosses. So if you're really flexible, you can probably do, a 9, you can do as many weaves as you want. So 5-beat, it's also good to notice, it's not quite like juggling. A 5-beat weave, if you learn it early, it's harder, but not really that much harder than a 3-beat weave. So it's not impressive the way juggling 5 balls is impressive compared to juggling 3 balls. But a 5-beat weave really can be very magical and beautiful if you know how to play with it. The real beauty, I think, of a 5-beat weave is the fact that a 3-beat weave crosses from track to track very quickly. So it comes over to this plane, goes back. Comes over here, goes back. A 5-beat weave spends a really long time hanging in the air before it disappears. Or if the turn, it spends so long it becomes this wheel of lighter fire that just takes its time before it crosses again. That's visually quite mesmerizing. So if you understand that, you can start understanding how to really play with a 5-beat weave in a way that makes it quite beautiful. And that also is what feels good about a 5-beat weave. It can just take so long coming from here to here and then disappearing over your shoulder. So as you play with it, or even if a 7-beat weave, even more so. It could just take forever as it comes over. And that's really where a lot of the fun and beauty of it is. By the way, if you want to interact with us in a really win-win, giving and receiving love kind of situation, make sure you come to playpoi.com for the videos. If you're just watching them on YouTube, you're really missing out on a lot of things. Each of these videos will have its page, and updates will be added to that page. So if you come to PlayPoi, you'll be able to keep track of the ideas evolving. And you'll also know about the cool stuff we're doing, the cool people we're doing it with, and all the other fun. So make sure you come to PlayPoi and interact.